Hello, I'm Melissa Sorolla, Senior Director of Corporate Communications and Marketing at CPS Energy. Oprima estrella cero ahora para escuchar en español. Thank you for joining this evening for this interactive town hall meeting so we can engage directly with you, answer your questions, and listen to your comments. We're excited to connect with you tonight to share key updates about our flexible path, where we are staying flexible in planning our future energy needs by incorporating newer and cleaner energy technology while balancing our commitment to you. Joining us tonight is Paula Gold Williams, our President and CEO of CPS Energy, Frank Almaraz, our Chief Power Sustainability and Business Development Officer, and Andrew Higgins, Senior Director of Products and Services. For those of you who are joining us on your telephone, you can also watch a video simulcast of this event at cpsenergy.com/town hall or on our Facebook page. If you have a question, you can press *3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you will be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, you'll be live on the call and you'll be able to ask your question directly. If you're on our live stream, you can enter your name and question below the streaming player, or on Facebook, simply leave a comment. We're going to try to get to as many questions as we can tonight, and we encourage you to join to submit your questions because we do want to hear from you. Oprima estrella cero ahora para escuchar en español. We have a lot of information to cover tonight, so let's get started. Paula, tonight's town hall is about our flexible path, but before we start that discussion, can you provide a quick overview of our guiding pillars, what they are, how our customers played a part in their selection, and how we operate our complex business through that lens?
Well, absolutely. It's my pleasure to do so, and thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. I'm going to try to keep my comments short. Basically, we're on a flexible path to make sure that we are thinking about new solutions that we want to add and replace existing generation with. And we're trying to make sure that we're not solving problems the way we always did. We want to be open to new technologies and new solutions. When we created the value pillars with the oversight from our board, we actually created 6. You hear a lot of them being talked about by different utilities. We've been talking about this for several years now. But basically, what we do is when we look at different options in the future, we try to push them against all the pillars. And we try to think about how do we bundle them together to make sure that we get the best benefits and minimize any challenges with the solutions. So our value pillars are of reliability and customer affordability. Every time we poll, those always end up being pretty much 1 and 2, and sometimes they change positions. It's also including making sure that your power is safe and secure. There are a lot of people out there, bad actors, different folks around the globe that want to get into our systems, and we have to keep that data secure. Additionally, we want to make sure that the systems are resilient, and that's a new term in the industry. I mean, we've talked about it, but not as widely used. But we talk about resilience because we want systems, if they go down for whatever reason, to come back quickly. That's really important, and that got proved out very much during Storm Uri. We want them reliable and resilient. And we want to make sure that we're thinking more and more about how we can put new solutions that are environmentally responsible. And we challenge ourselves again for anything that we're looking at. Can we get the best position across all those pillars? And we consciously went and make sure that we are thinking about that balance for you. We know it's important for our customers that we're making the right decisions, that we're taking your input, that we have 3,000 wonderful energy experts here that are thinking about the best way to move from where we are today to new solutions in the future.
Thanks, Paula. And we know resiliency is huge, not only for the work that we do, but we want our customers to be resilient as well. So thanks for sharing that. Before we go to our first caller, I do want to remind everybody that if you do have a question, to press *3 to be put in queue to ask your question. And we also wanted to let everybody know that if you have a question related to billing or customer service, our dedicated energy advisors are on standby to help you at 210-353-2222. And again, as we've been talking about over the last couple of months, we will be resuming disconnects soon, but we are here to help you. So please don't hesitate to call us at 210-353-2222. So we have one online question so far, and we're going to go ahead and take that first question. And might skip over to you, Drew. First, you're not up right away in the agenda, but it is a solar question. So we have an online question from Dolly Young, and she asks, which solar partners are offering no upfront cost to the CPS Energy customer? So, Drew, we'll go over to you, and also we'll be sharing resources throughout this time period too. So, Drew, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Melissa. So I want to start by saying that there are a variety of solar installers across the San Antonio area, and many of those solar installers have different payment plans or different types of financing that can be had. That being said, our programs are very specific on which solar installers that you can use, and I suggest that you go to the CPS Energy website and you look at, and you do your research when you study for what solar installer you want to utilize. That being said, we have very we have a varied amount of programs around solar. We have a community solar program that is now fully subscribed to, and hopefully we'll be able to open it up in the future. Additionally, we have solar rebates. So there are some options out there, but once again, it's a consumer choice, and you go out and you find the solar installer or provider, and you work with that solar installer to make sure you get the system that's right for you. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Drew. And thanks, Dolly, for your question. And again, don't hesitate to call us at 210-353-2222. And again, if you do have a question, if you're dialing in, press *3 on your keypad at any time to get in the queue to ask a question. Again, that's *3. And if you're online, you can submit your question below the streaming player or on our Facebook page. So we also have with us tonight Frank Almaraz, our Chief Power Sustainability and Business Development Officer. Frank, there was an announcement last week from the White House about moving our country towards receiving 45% of energy from solar. Put that goal in relationship to our current generation resources and where we're heading with our flexible path and our flex power bundle.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. The final rule hasn't yet to come out, and we won't know exactly where that's going to land for some time. But I will say that we have been early adopters of solar many years ago, and we achieved our Vision 2020 goal a couple of years back in advance of the deadline to be at least 20% renewable as part of our portfolio. And we've continued to add from there. So our current flexible path resource plan, which can be found on our website. And by the way, just as an aside, I encourage everybody to download that and have a look at it. It's got a wealth of information that can answer a lot of questions and give you food for thought. That current document says that we expect to have about 50% of our energy capacity provided by renewables by the year 2040. And that represents an 80% reduction in carbon. And the rule that has been proposed would also include nuclear, which is non-carbon emitting, and that would drive that number up even higher. I would say that we have year in, year out, from one presidential administration to the next, have been really focused on delivering what's right for our community. And that's not going to change based on the pillars that Paula cited. We have to balance every decision with all of those pillars in mind. And we are really focused on delivering what's right for our community. So those targets that are put out at a national level, we are pleased because our planning has consistently gotten us ahead of those targets and made sure that we are on a pathway that can arrive at those targets ultimately. So we'll see where it goes, but I would say that we're well positioned. And I don't want to leave the question without giving an update on our our flexible power bundle. We continue to evaluate the RFPs that we received or the responses to that request for proposal. We were really pleased with what we saw. Proposals from all over the world, hundreds and hundreds of projects were brought to our attention. And we're going to be in a position to award that business and bring 900 megawatts of additional solar, up to 50 megawatts of storage, and an additional 500 megawatts of firming capacity. That is flexible generation that can produce power um, when we decide that we need to use it to back up intermittent resources. And we'll have that all worked out and announced in the coming months, hopefully by no later than early this next year. So I continue to believe that we are on a great pathway, regardless of what rules come down from the federal and state level, and really pleased with that progress and look forward to additional questions on this front. And once again, encourage everybody to go out to our cpsenergy.com website and download our Flex Path Resource Plan and have a look for yourself. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. And we also participated in an exciting announcement this morning related to testing of EV batteries after their end use. Please tell us more about this project test and how that also fits into our flexible path.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked the question. At the heart of Flexible Path is the need to make sure that we are adopting those technologies that have become cost effective and can be efficient for us at the point where they are available and ready to use for our community. We don't want to pick winners and losers from a technology standpoint, but we certainly want to keep our ear to the ground and make sure that we are adopting those technologies that allow us to keep additions of capacity bite-sized and affordable, reliable, and environmentally responsible for our community. The item that you just mentioned, Melissa, was related to a partnership that we've kicked off with Hyundai, Korean car manufacturer, and OCI Solar, a solar manufacturer here in San Antonio. And the idea is to explore a second lifetime for those electric vehicle batteries. A lot of questions have been raised about, well, what happens? What's the supply chain look like after these electric vehicle batteries aren't, at top production for the vehicle? What can we do with them? So this opportunity and limited deployment to learn more about the supplied technology is going to be a wonderful way for us to continue to live in the spirit of Flexible Path, and that's explore those opportunities as they come and be sure that we're adopting them when they're available to our community. It's a 500 kilowatt battery, which is about enough power to produce for approximately 100 homes in our community, and we look really very excited about it. Looking forward to learning a lot from this piece of applied technology.
That is exciting, Frank, and we'll have many more of these town halls where you can continue to keep us updated on this. We do have a live caller that we're going to go ahead and take a call from Kurt. If we can get Kurt on the line. Kurt, you are live now.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Hi, Kurt.
Hello?
You're on the line. Hi, Kurt.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear us?
I'm Kurt Kunze. Yes, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I just had a question. I guess I have quite a few questions, but I'd like to start off with, just this one question, of course. What type of assurance with this new flexible plan that's coming through or starting to come through will we have of limited or no rolling blackouts during extreme hot weather and extreme cold weather during the year? Is there an assurance that we're gonna have on this? Because I pay my bill all the time. I've never skipped a payment, and many elderly people in my family haven't. And their power was shut off during the wintertime this year, and it's very difficult to go through something like that for the simple excuse that we don't have enough power to power the entire community here. So I'm a little concerned about this particular path, and how will there be some assurance that that's not going to happen again? Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt, and thanks for dialing in. We'll go ahead and start with Paula first for a response, and then Frank, if you want to join in too. So Paula, we'll go to you.
Well, Kurt, excellent question, extremely relevant. We get that question often. Once again, I want to apologize to you and our community for what was the experience. It was an experience that happened to the entire state. There were millions of people without power, and a lot of the experiences were very, very difficult. I guess the thing I want to talk to you all about is um, we have excellent capacity relative to what the peak needs are. And we were prepared for a outage probably to the extent maybe two or three times what we had seen before. And of course, this was in some ways it was 10 times more intense and extensive. We have learned from this very terrible experience. We have already had our teams looking at the things that we could do to both improve the performance of our plants, to have better QC and approach to the weatherization of our plants. We did weatherize, but we definitely feel like for the intensity that we saw for the first time in probably 100 years across the state of Texas, we had to rethink on that entire approach. And we've also had to rethink how we can go about managing outages and instructions from ERCOT. I want to tell you that I think we are much better prepared today based on the experiences that we have, and our team continues to look for ways for improvement. Part of the issue is that the whole state had a challenge in terms of generation. It wasn't just CPS Energy, it was the whole state, and we needed all the capacity that was across the state. So I will tell you that CPS Energy is doing everything it can in terms of making sure, again, that we have generation that can meet the needs of our community and contribute to the needs of the state. And the reason why that's important is the grid is all connected. And if we don't keep stable power across the state, it will have an impact to everyone here, as we have seen. The Flex Power Bundle is designed to take out some plants that primarily um, are optimized in the summer. And that was the original design for what we had. So we have plants that primarily run in the summer, and they are base load generating plants, but they are over 50 years old. It is very relevant to be able to use solar batteries and firming capacity to replace that. We are also looking at a follow-up Flex Power Bundle that is focused on winter, which won't have the element of renewable capacity by itself. It'll have a whole lot more baseload generation, and it will have more battery power. We ultimately have to replace and put in, thousands of megawatts in that replacement. But I do want you to know that our commitment is how we're doing it is we're looking at how to handle the summer peak and how to better handle the winter peak. We are making sure that we're focused on the reliability that you talk about and the resiliency of systems. We're going to do all we can to prevent the impacts that happened in February. And you have our team's commitment that we're going to do it. It will, in part, require that we put in new generating systems that, again, handle both, in certain cases, targeted and shaped for the summer. And then we will continue to make sure that we're keeping plants on while we make the transition, keeping our ability to keep and upgrade those plants as needed, and making sure that they stay on and have really great weatherization processes, and then replaced with plants that can keep us and give us the reliability that we need. Hey, Frank, what did I miss?
Paula, I think the only thing that I would add is that after 2011, we've spent about $20 million to implement upgrades that we found in 3 separate assessments of our system. And during the February event that happened all across the state of Texas, and I just want to underscore, Paula, your comment that it's awful, and we all feel terrible for what happened to the families across the entire state. And we take our job very seriously to deliver reliable and resilient power. So with those dollars spent, our plants performed at about 85% capacity during the event. There were some mechanical issues. There were some electrical issues. There were some fuel issues where gas pressures across the state dropped, and we were not able to get gas fuel to our gas-fired fleet. And there were a small number, 5 specific incidents where that freeze protection, where that 100 hours of below freezing temperatures overcame our freeze protection measures at our plants. Having said that, that was not good enough. There are things happening at the state level that will help. We are not in control of those things. So what we are doing is being hyper focused on trying to increase the reliability, resiliency of our plants to as close to 100% as possible, recognizing that it is very difficult to achieve that 100%. And as Paula said, the issue of firming capacity is going to be front and center as part of Flex Power Bundle 2.0, so the next version of Flex Power Bundle, and that's, as she said, storage and additional capacity that we can dispatch for when our community needs it most. But I deeply appreciate that question, as it has been front and center on our minds. For utility employees, I want to stress for you that as utility employees, we wake up thinking about a reliable system. We go to bed at night thinking about a reliable system, and our efforts are doubling down since post Winter Storm Uri.
Thank you, Paula and Frank, and thank you, Kurt, for the question. Okay, everyone, we want to hear from you. And again, if you're on the line and you have a question to ask, please press *3 to be put in the queue. We're going to go to a quick poll question. If you are on the phone, you can vote by pressing the corresponding number on your keypad. And if you're online, you can vote by selecting your response below the streaming player. So our first poll question, and it's a great segue from the discussion that Paul and Frank just shared with us. Our Flex Power Bundle is seeking to add more renewable resources to our power portfolio and will triple our solar capacity. What is most important to you as a customer? Press 1 on your phone for low bills, which equates to affordability. Press 2 for reliability, which means availability of power when you need it. Press 3 for environmental responsibility, or press 4 for new products and services. I'll go through those again. Press 1 for low bills, which equates to affordability. 2 for reliability, which means availability of power when you need it. Press 3 for environmental responsibility, or press 4 for new products and services. And our team will gather those results and we'll share those shortly. Paula, I am going to go back to you. In the poll question we just presented, one of the options was affordability. And we know that's important for our customers and our community. Please share your perspective on our path forward with energy resources and how we plan to keep affordability in the mix.
Well, I think we've always been focused on affordable power. We know that for our community, no matter where you're from, no matter what your background may be, you want to make sure that we are being prudent. We are focused on making sure that we're as efficient as possible, and we work to keep our bills affordable. We measure our performance against the major markets in Texas, and I would tell you that we still have one of the lowest bills across the state. And it's a tough position to maintain, because for all the things that we are being requested to do, and once again, it was a great question, Kurt, about how do we as a utility continue to make sure that there's increased reliability. One element of that is making more investments. Our approach, though, is to make sure that we do all we can, pick the lowest hanging fruit, try to go after the best ways to be efficient by using some existing technology. We're also, when we do deploy new technology, we try to do it as efficiently as possible. We are constantly looking for savings across our system. Over the last several years, we've saved over $900 million. And that has really contributed to a position where we have only had one rate increase in nearly 12 years. And the last one was close to 8 years ago. So we understand that we can't keep coming back to our customers unless we've done everything we can to save money. And we know that's at the forefront. I would tell you that more times than not, again, when we ask people what are the most important um, drivers for them, value drivers, value pillars, affordability is always one or two. Every once in a while, it's number three, but I think consciously and consistently over the years, it's been high. And so we listen to you, and we know that we've got to keep staying focused on affordability, looking for the best ways to make those investments, looking for the best way to bundle the value, to step into enhancements. Again, we need to do everything, and we are to improve reliability and make sure you have the systems and the energy that you need. But at the same time, we have to make sure that it's in balance again, that affordability is focused on, and that we are thinking about the environment along the way. So please know that is seared into our DNA based upon the feedback that we have gotten from you. It'd be interesting to see what tonight's feedback is. I mean, it may change, but I would tell you that we poll frequently over and over again, and it's typically highly rated. So again, if it's important to you, then it's going to stay important to us.
Yes, and you're right, Paula. Again, this is a great opportunity to get feedback, and we do have the results from the first poll, and very much in line with what we saw even a month ago when we had an event like this again. So 57% of those of you who responded said keeping your power reliable and resilient was number one. Number two at 25% was keeping bills affordable. At 14% was prioritizing environmental responsibility. And at 4%, ensuring we keep giving you new products and services. So thank you all for participating in that poll. And we're going to try to get to another one later in this hour. And again, if you are on the phone and you have a question, please press star 3 on your keypad at any time to get in the queue. And again, that's star 3. And if you're participating online, you can submit your question below the streaming player. And we do have an online question from Omar Briones. And I think it'll be a good one for Frank and Paula, again, for you, both of you all. So here's a question from Omar. Has the board approved plans to mothball Spruce 1 in 2028 and retire Spruce in 2035? And has the board approved plans to mothball Spruce 2 in 2049? So essentially, what are the plans for Spruce 1 and 2 and retirement dates?
Well,
Frank?
yeah, I'll start. So the board hasn't approved a plan yet for the end of life of Spruce 1 or Spruce 2. What's in that Flex Path resource plan that you would find online is one pathway to the future. So I think there's a lot of discussion that we need to have about, when you think about closing a unit or doing something with it in advance of the, end of its, with an accelerated end of life. The document that have referenced a couple times, that plan does talk about a couple of options involving those coal units. And it's a discussion that I think is important to have, and we certainly are looking for feedback as to what our pathway ought to be with those units. One of the potential options, I think, it sounds like you might have referenced the document. One potential option is that we shut down Spruce 1 early in advance of having to spend some money on environmental upgrades. And then Spruce 2, you can either run it as it is, we can shut it down entirely, we can repower it with natural gas, and there's probably some other options out there. But there is some comparison of these options with some pros and cons in that document that would be good reference material for viewers. And we look forward for an opportunity to talk more about those options and seek feedback from the community. Paula, any more to share?
Yeah, I want to emphasize that we are, in fact, looking for your feedback and looking for additional discussion. And I think it's great to have that question here tonight. The board hasn't decided because we want to make sure that the community sees there are options. Um, I absolutely believe that our responsibility is to think about how can we generate power more responsibly from an environmental standpoint. And accordingly, we have closed two units. We closed two in 2018, and we did that about 15 years ahead of schedule. It's possible very much to close the spruce units. But I will say that relative to these units, there is a lot more value left on those plants. There's about $1 billion of value sitting on there, and that's okay. You all, as community members, as our customers, the way that we look at it is that you own these units. The perspective is if you have a car, you may want an electric vehicle. And I think Drew's going to look forward to talking to you all about that opportunity. We want to incent people to make transitions to cleaner technology. And that's great. But the issue is, can everyone in San Antonio automatically get out of their current um, internal combustion engine cars, things that are currently still being sold on the road, and get out today and go straight to an electric vehicle? That market is coming along great, but all of the technology isn't there. All of the availability of the volumes aren't there. We have to really think, I think, very hard about when we're moving from one technology to another, timing and velocity. We think there's a lot of time in the next year or two to have a conversation about being able to repower or close those units. Again, get your input. Is it possible to close them, to transition them, to look at the new technologies, even by as early as 2030? I would say yes. But we want to have that conversation because depending on the speed of doing it and how we do it, it could cost more money. And we want to make sure, again, that the community knows as we take these steps what the implication of those steps are. There are costs to not closing them. I hear that from my environmental friends. There's always a cost in terms of air and air quality. And we think that that's very, very important. But we also know, based upon what we experienced in February, we have to be careful. Every single technology had its challenge. We are very diversified here in San Antonio. And just from a terms of producing power, we were in a better position than quite a few communities because we do have a carefully managed generation portfolio. And we're making these steps very thoughtfully. And we've done it in terms of trying to make sure that we are implementing cleaner technologies over and over again. We're looking for the right level of new technologies to incent. We're looking for partners both at the federal level and the national labs. But we've got to do it thoughtfully again to make sure that the timing's right, the affordability is right, that we're making sure that we're communicating with you. And as we're asking for funds to close plants and replace it with new solutions. Just like Kurt said again, we got to make sure that we're keeping everything in balance, that we're keeping all the lights and power flowing, and that we do it in a thoughtful way. So closing the units is just a really big decision that we want, and we appreciate all the feedback and the participation and engagement for the community. And again, doing it together, I think we'll get to the right decisions, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Thanks, Paul and Frank, and thank you, Mr. Briones, for your questions. This segues into our STEP and our conservation program discussion led by Drew Higgins, who is our Senior Director of Products and Services, and his team manages the Save for Tomorrow Energy Plan, or STEP, as you hear us discuss it, and that includes our rebates and weatherization programs. Drew's here to talk about energy efficiency and our conservation programs. And Drew, tell us about STEP, what it has accomplished so far, and what we're currently offering, and what the future may look like for our rebate programs.
Thank you, Melissa. It's really extraordinary, right? And so the bottom line is, we as a community have achieved over 926 megawatts of energy savings since fiscal year 09. In the last fiscal year alone, we weatherized over 1,700 homes, facilitated the installation of over 4,500 solar systems, and helped our customers save money by issuing over 55,000 energy efficiency rebates. Because of this, we want to thank the community for their support of STEP and STEP Bridge. Right now, we have over 20 programs that the community can actively participate in. With those programs over the next 10 months, we're going to go through a process of evaluating what the next iteration of our energy savings programs look like. That being said, this is a 10-year-old, I'm going to use a car analogy, a 10-year-old car. And we've changed the brakes and we've changed the muffler and we've changed the timing belt. And so at this point, we are really exploring, basically whether or not we should get a new car or not. And that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to be looking for community engagement. And we're going to be looking for new technologies and capabilities. We've just issued an RFP where we got over 50 replies about new technologies and innovative options that we may be able to offer the community. And we're going to bring that back to the community, and we're going to bring it to our board, and we're going to see what our next steps are.
Paula, did you want to chime in too?
Yeah, I do. I do want to just punctuate some of the things that Drew mentioned. We have been in this program for over 10 years, but I will tell you that this program stacks up extremely well to all other energy efficiencies and conservation programs across the nation. It is award winning because we have thought about it again from a diverse perspective. We have all types of different programs, different ways that people can both save energy and also reduce the cost of energy. So the more that you can manage your thermostats, then the more that you can save. We have programs to help you with that, as well as, again, the products that were asked about earlier. What can we do? And if anyone's interested in solar or weatherizing the home, making it tighter in terms of the weatherization around doors and windows, that's really important. I do want to take a point to tell you that we've always talked about this program. It was approved by our board initially, and then it was approved by our city council. And we brought this program back to both our board and the city council on multiple occasions. Now, the way that it works is it's a community program. And to make sure that innovation keeps happening in the energy industry, we basically have a charge that is included in everyone's bill. And that's been kind of a question across the community. Who pays for this program? There's about $70 million comes in as a part of the bill. So if your bill is, let's say, about $150 a month, of course, that could vary about from your usage in your home. About $3.50 of that bill is actually charged, and that money is put in a fund. And then that fund is used to, again, help us make those community investments to be more efficient. And those community investments, again, are weatherization, their solar programs, their thermostat programs, and they're built for residents, small business, and commercial customers. So that's how the program works. And there have been some questions about, well, I didn't know that was on our bill. We've always disclosed to everyone that's how that works. We don't get direct federal dollars. There are federal dollars that have come from the CARES funding that's gone to our owner, the city of San Antonio, or it's gone to Bexar County, but we don't qualify for those things. So we work really, really hard to optimize the dollars you give us so we can keep making improvements and being more efficient. And the last thing I'll tell you about this point is, so someone would say, well, if I'm not directly in the weatherization plan or not directly in solar, am I paying into something I don't get? Here's the point. Again, to maintain affordability, what we're doing is using those funds, and we're spending about $70 million a year. But what we don't have is we don't have $1 billion new plant that we're putting in place too early. We're actually leveraging the time in this program so we don't have a big debt for $1 billion. We're getting more information. People are saving more. And then we'll figure out again, what are the best future solutions? Maybe it doesn't have to be a big $1 billion plant. Maybe it's a much smaller investment over time. So this plan helps everyone in terms of not overbuilding, not having more charges that go on for potentially 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and gives us a chance to see as new technology comes in, what's the best way to do the next Flex Power bundle. If we hadn't done the program over 10 years ago, I would tell you we would have built another plant already. And again, why that's great, that has helped us manage the bills and keep the bills affordable. It's all a balancing game for us. Again, we look at across the pillars. We look at how can we leverage time, how can we manage velocity, how can we can take into consideration new technology that's coming. So that's why this program is so important. And we have lots of information about it on our website. And as Drew says, it is time though to kick the tires. Our board wants us to look at it. What can we do to improve it, to enhance the value, to make it even more of a contribution to everyone in the community? And that's exactly what our team is going to do for you.
Thanks, Paula and Drew. I don't want to leave the STEP discussion because we do have a live question from an Andrew about the STEP program. So Andrew, you'll be live now to ask your question.
Yeah, thank you guys for addressing this. I was just going to ask because I saw that there was an article today that you guys were considering killing the STEP program, and I've personally taken advantage of that. I've had fellow business owners take advantage of that. I think it's a great program to help with the ever-growing city that we're in. So I'd really just my question. I think you just answered my question, but that was definitely just something.
If I could indicate that we appreciate that feedback. And again, we have very robust and important conversations with our board on a regular basis. And I really enjoy the fact that we get asked these questions by the board. How effective are the programs? Are they the place we should be saving money? And we think, again, it's always important for us to challenge ourselves. Can we close the spruce units earlier? How can we do that? How effective is the STEP program, and can it be improved? I think the question that the board would put on the table is trying to make sure, again, that we go back and make sure everybody knows what it is, to be as transparent as possible, to think about it in terms of a choice. The community has decided that it's important. I would tell you, I still think it's important, but it's a choice. And when we're facing other decisions like, what should we do with the spruce units, and can we move faster, and is there a way to move dollars around? I think it's really important for us to leave all the options on the table. But I don't want to discount that this, what we do is not just unique to CPS Energy. It's a standard best practice across the globe. And you'll find many utilities that find that their customers who have said, hey, I want to try a new product or a new service, have been able to find value in it. So we want to hear from you. We want to share it. Maybe the last point, sir, that I would add is, some people have said, well, why don't you break it out on the bill? We do have a system that is really old in terms of our backbone reporting and how you get your bills. One of the things that we're looking at is how can we update that system and give you more detail what's behind it. And I think in all fairness, we can have more transparency about what's there. But I will tell you, we will always explain to you what those estimates are. And even if they're grouped, we'll break it out for you. But later on, if people are interested, we will talk about what's the value and the cost of renewables, the STEP program, the gas units, the STP units, all the things that we have. We can do, a better job in the future. We will need to make some investments in technology. Again, another choice. But we do have folks that we want to hear from you. So please keep those questions coming. You will see and hear more things about our analysis on STEP, and we will publicly share with you. And as you continue to see things that you're interested in knowing, please contact us. And you can call our number, the 210-353-2222. We also are very active on social media. Please feel free to do that. We have talented energy advisors also that help us get that information for you. And the last thing I'll say is there'll be more outreach across San Antonio, including more town halls.
Thanks, Paula. Drew, your team also works on programming for electric vehicles. Can you give us a quick update on our role in EVs and the upcoming EV Week event early in October?
I'll be more than happy to. This is a topic that's pretty close to my heart. Our leadership, our CEO, our senior chiefs, they focus us on not just the daily task, but looking forward. And for the longest time, electric vehicles have been just kind of out of reach, right? They've been higher priced. There hasn't been the impetus for the entire community to take advantage of electric vehicles, but it's right on the horizon. There's some legislation coming down now that can bring the average price of an electric vehicle, below $20,000 for those normal market vehicles, the EV, the Chevy Bolt, the Nissan Leaf, those types of vehicles. And because of that, we want to make sure the community knows that CPS Energy supports electrification of transportation. And the way we're going to show that is we have two products out. We have two managed charging products that you can go to the CPS Energy website and explore. But also, we're going to demonstrate to the public how electric vehicles work. We're partnering with the city of San Antonio. We're partnering with the Pearls. We're partnering with the zoo in an event that will showcase how EVs work. We're going to do a ride and drive event where they can drive from the Pearl to the zoo, and then they can learn about EV charging, level 2 charging with two of our partners. Blink Charging is one, and then the other partner will be the Electrify America. That being the case, the end result of this event will be that we're going to be able to educate a lot of the community. We're looking for at least 1,000 visitors and 200 test drives on electric transportation, and we're excited.
Thanks, Drew, and we hope to see everybody there. And you're a great advocate for EVs. We do have another live question that we're going to go to next, and we have Michael who's dialed in. Michael, you're live.
Well, I want to say that your conservation projects and programs work. I moved into a restored 90-year-old farmhouse that was all electric and was absolutely panicked about high bills. Ended up with a smart thermostat, and the house is completely weatherized and thermopane windows. And I want to know what CPS can do to roll that out even further to get more of the community involved in that, because it seems as though that would be a way to control peak demand.
Thanks, Michael, for dialing in. Drew, you want to take that one first?
Absolutely. So we have a couple of programs that you can take advantage of. We have 5 residential energy efficiency programs that you can take care of. You can take advantage of. Additionally, we have our weatherization, our Casa Verde program that it does require an income qualification, but you can definitely explore that. And you can explore all these programs on the CPS Energy website. The bottom line is CPS Energy will help you save energy. Our thermostat program is award winning, and it does, as you say, reduce our peak, and it saves you money. With this program, it's fairly easy to enroll and to be a part of, and we encourage everyone to be a part of that program. Other than that, we also offer advice and tips on the CPS Energy website on how to better weatherize your home.
Thanks, Drew, and thanks, Michael, for the question. We do have time for another poll question. You've heard us talk about our guiding pillars, and that helps base our decision. And we want to know what is most important to you and how we deliver energy. So if you're on your phone, you can press 1 for customer affordability, press 2 for energy reliability, press 3 for energy resilience, which is the ability to recover quickly, press 4 for environmental responsibility, press 5 for safety, or press 6 for security. Again, the choices are press 1 for customer affordability, press 2 for energy reliability, press 3 for energy resilience, which is the ability to recover quickly, press 4 for environmental responsibility, press 5 for safety, or press 6 for security. All right, we do have another online question that we'll get to while we are getting those poll results. And this one comes from Albert. Albert asks, why are commercial customers charged lower rates for higher consumption? And Paul, I will turn it over to you for this one to give your insights.
Very good. So it is a wonderful question. We've gotten it before, and I know we'll spend a whole lot more time in the future talking about it. So the way that the utility business works is we do a view by customer group. What does it take to actually service an account? And really and truly, and I'm a resident too. I'm away, right. I come into the office every day. I'm away from work, from my home. But when I come home, and I try to be, better at this in a lot of my job. When I come home, I'm cooking, I'm operating the washing machine, I'm cutting on the TV. With when we had children in the house, the thermostat was moving all over the place. And what happens is on another normal residential customer, your load is much more peaking exactly when everyone else is coming home and peaking. Businesses haven't really shut down. Retail outlets are still open, but the average individual resident is driving demand. And as Michael indicated earlier, that peak becomes the most costly thing for us to manage. We go ahead and isolate the cost that it takes to service residential customers, and per unit, it is more expensive because there's not as much of demand in each individual home, and it's driving up that big peak. Large commercial customers, basically, industrial in nature, they're running almost 24/7. They're running multiple shifts. They have a much more even demand. So they basically make sure that we are suppressing that peak. They're keeping it level. And if you have 1 unit of power and it took 1 unit to provide that power for CPS Energy, and you charge for that, that would be the most expensive power ever. But what we do is we take all of the power that we generate and divide it by all of the hours for every single customer in our customer base. When we do that, the large customers are more efficient and they're bringing down that price per unit. It's very similar to like when you go to the store, like if you go to the convenience store and you need just a little bit of dishwashing liquid, that is a much more expensive per unit charge for that dishwashing liquid. But if you go to Costco and you get the big family pack, then that's going to be a much less expensive per unit charge. And so it's a volume perspective, it's a volume measurement, and that's what happens. It costs us less typically to be able to handle a large commercial load. Now we go back and test commercial loads, and if they are supposed to be bringing that cost down and that we don't, their prices individually go up. But in general, because again, big industrial users have a more efficient way for us to produce the power, they don't drive the peak. And what costs a community money is peaks. And again, Michael's comment was right. Anything that we could do to manage the peaks is really important. And the one thing I will say to Michael, I mean, Drew went over, we have programs, they are available. People, please look at anyone any one of our customers, please look at our website and look at those. We invite you and anyone in to try to take advantage of all the programs that we have. And what we do is we measure the demand, and based upon the demand, we try to figure out how to make the program bigger. Now, I will say bigger costs more money. So if we wanted to have a much bigger investment in energy efficiency and conservation, then maybe that needs to go up from 70 million to maybe 90 million. And we will show the community what that choice looks like and what we could do. And again, though, it could help us defer some of the capital investments for new generation. So it's always a balancing game for us to do it. But $70 million goes a long way. And everyone in our community is welcome to knock on our door and see what programs might work for you.
Thanks, Paul. And we do have the results from our second poll. We want to thank everybody for participating in that poll. And as a reminder, the question was, which energy guiding pillar is most important to you? At 43%, we had reliability. At 20%, it was customer affordability, 17% resiliency, 12% environmental responsibility, 5% safety, and 6% security. We are coming to the end of our live event this evening, and we want to thank everybody for taking time, spending time with us tonight. We do appreciate the opportunity to connect with you and answer your questions. If we weren't able to get to your question today, you can leave a voicemail after this is over, and you'll be transferred into our voicemail system. And as a reminder, if you need billing or customer assistance, please call our energy advisors at 210-353-2222. We're also going to continue this discussion with another Teletown Hall on Tuesday, October 5th at 7 p.m. So we do hope that you save the date and join us there as well. And before we leave, I'm going to turn it over to Paula for some closing thoughts. Paula?
Well, very good. A couple of things. I want to very much tell you that your feedback makes us better. Your input is important to us. We get a lot of it. It goes in a lot of different directions, but we try to synthesize it and find the best way to make the right decisions for San Antonio. And these town halls are basically in response to the feedback that we've gotten. So thanks all of you for letting us share some more ideas and thoughts and the great questions and the feedback that we're getting. We will continue to do our best to outreach and learn from you and really, again, try to take that input and make better decisions in the future. And our main goal, even though we have about $12 billion in assets, our main goal is to serve. It is an honor and it is an absolute privilege to do it. I'm very passionate about our community. I'm born and raised here in San Antonio, and I understand that you all are our neighbors and our friends, and we just want to do the best we can for you. So thanks again for being here with us tonight and for future events of giving us that feedback. Very, very quickly, I want to thank our Spanish language expert on the line, Marta, and I want to thank Buddy, who did our sign language transition. We have a lot of special terms here, so thanks to both of you for joining us and trying to make sure that we have a better way to outreach to the community that we care about. Thank you. It is a privilege to serve you. Have a wonderful evening and stay safe.